What if I told you there are forgotten secrets buried in the earth, capable of transforming even the most barren soil into a thriving ecosystem? These aren't fancy fertilizers or complex chemicals, but 3 simple crops that time forgot. These crops once sustained civilizations and restored landscapes, and today they still hold the power to revitalize our gardens. By weaving them back into our soil stewardship, we not only boost fertility but also nurture a living soil that will continue giving for generations. Let's step away from the bagged quick fixes and explore how amaranth, fava beans, and buckwheat can change the way you see your soil forever. The dirt dilemma: why does our soil really need a boost? Well, let's dig in and find out. So much of our gardening today starts with a quiet frustration: soil that looks tired, compacted, or simply lifeless. Modern agriculture, with its relentless cycles of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and monocultures, has stripped the land of the very vitality it once held. When soil is robbed of organic matter and microbial diversity, it loses its ability to provide balanced nutrition to our plants. Food grown in depleted soil is less nutrient-dense, harvests shrink over time, and the very life of the earth beneath our feet suffers. Many gardeners fall into the trap of thinking the solution lies in more inputs, more synthetic fertilizer, more bottled amendments, more work. But while these quick fixes may give a short burst of green growth, they leave the soil weaker in the long run, dependent on external help rather than functioning as a living, breathing ecosystem. That's where nature's forgotten crops come in. For thousands of years, cultures around the world understood the rhythms of the land, planting crops not only for food, but also to heal and regenerate the soil. By rediscovering these crops and weaving them into our gardens, we can reverse the decline and create soil that is rich, resilient, and self-sustaining. The amazing comeback of Amaranth. It's quite a story, really. You know, Amaranth is not just a grain of history. It is truly a gift to any gardener who wants to rebuild soil health. Isn't that something? Once revered by the Aztecs and cultivated across ancient civilizations, Amaranth has been largely forgotten in modern gardens. Quite fascinating, don't you think? But its potential for soil restoration is extraordinary. One of Amaranth's greatest contributions lies in its root system. These roots dive deep, penetrating compacted layers that many garden crops cannot access. As they move downward, they bring subsoil nutrients back up toward the surface where future plants can benefit. This natural mining process not only makes nutrients more available, but also opens the soil, improving aeration and water infiltration. You know, gardeners who are wrestling with clay soils or those pesky areas where compaction has really stifled plant growth will find Amaranth to be a natural ally. It's like having a secret weapon in your gardening toolkit. And hey, let's not forget that Amaranth plays a pretty important role in building organic matter. It's amazing how this plant can contribute to the health of your soil. Now, here's something cool. Microbes, they create these aggregates that give soil its crumbly texture. It's that lovely texture that lets water seep in rather than just run off, and it allows roots to grow freely without struggling for space. Isn't that fascinating? In addition, Amaranth's vigorous growth suppresses weeds, sparing you from hours of backbreaking labor and, reducing the temptation to reach for herbicides. In this way, Amaranth not only feeds your soil, but honestly, it simplifies your gardening. The unsung hero, fava beans. Legumes have always been the quiet powerhouses of soil restoration, and among them, fava beans stand tall, literally and figuratively. These beans, with their sturdy stalks and lush foliage, do far more than provide a hearty harvest. They are natural nitrogen factories, capturing this vital nutrient from the air and converting it into a plant-available form through their symbiotic relationship with soil bacteria. While synthetic fertilizers attempt to mimic this process, they cannot replicate the slow, steady, and balanced release that legumes like fava provide. But nitrogen fixation is just the beginning. Fava beans are also excellent biotillers. Their roots push into the soil, creating natural channels that allow water to penetrate and oxygen to circulate. These pathways remain long after the plants are gone, benefiting the crops that follow. And when gardeners chop down the fava bean crop and leave the residue as green manure, the soil is gifted with a surge of organic matter that nourishes not only plants but also the microbial life that is the true engine of soil fertility. For gardeners who have struggled with soils that feel depleted and lifeless, fava beans provide an almost immediate transformation. By planting them as a winter cover crop or interspersing them in rotations, you allow the soil to rest and rebuild while still keeping it active and alive. In just a single season, the difference can be felt in the vigor of your subsequent crops. Buckwheat's soil superpowers are honestly pretty impressive when you learn about them. Buckwheat may look unassuming, but it is one of the most powerful soil rejuvenating crops you can grow. Unlike many plants that struggle in poor soils, buckwheat thrives where others fail, making it a versatile tool for gardeners dealing with difficult conditions. Its greatest strength lies in its ability to unlock phosphorus, a nutrient that is often present in soil but trapped in forms plants cannot use. Buckwheat releases compounds from its roots that free up this bound phosphorus, making it available for the crops that follow. This is particularly valuable for root vegetables and fruiting plants that rely heavily on phosphorus for growth and production. Beyond nutrient cycling, buckwheat is a rapid biomass producer. Within just a few weeks it can cover bare soil with lush growth, preventing erosion, shading out weeds, and building organic matter when incorporated back into the soil. Its quick life cycle makes it easy to slot into garden rotations, allowing you to cover the soil between harvests without losing precious time in the growing season. Buckwheat also has the added benefit of suppressing certain soil-borne pests, including nematodes, by disrupting their life cycles. This makes it not just a soil builder but also a soil protector. And as a bonus, its delicate white flowers are beloved by pollinators, turning your soil rejuvenation efforts into a gift for the larger ecosystem. From depletion to thriving, your soil's future is really in your hands. What's remarkable about amaranth, fava beans, and buckwheat is not only their individual power, but also how they complement one another. Each tackles a different dimension of soil health. Amaranth breaks compaction and adds organic matter, fava beans enrich the soil with nitrogen and improve structure, and buckwheat mobilizes phosphorus while providing rapid cover. Together they create a balanced approach that revives soil from multiple angles. The beauty of these crops is that you don't need acres of land to see their benefits. Even dedicating just a small patch in your garden to these forgotten plants can really begin the process of rejuvenation. Over time, as your soil becomes healthier, you'll start to notice the ripple effect. Plants grow more vigorously, pest and disease pressures ease, and harvests become more abundant and nutrient-rich. What begins as an experiment in soil care quickly transforms into a lifestyle of gardening in harmony with nature. As gardeners, we are stewards of the land in our own backyards. By choosing to cultivate crops that heal rather than deplete, we join a tradition that spans generations and cultures. Our role is not just to grow food but to restore balance to the soil that feeds us. With Amaranth, Fava beans, and buckwheat, we hold in our hands the keys to both productivity and sustainability. If this exploration of 3 forgotten crops has inspired you, now is the time to take action. Don't let your soil languish under chemical quick fixes and tired routines. Bring these plants back into your garden, watch your soil come alive again, and share the knowledge with others who care about growing food in healthier, more sustainable ways. And if you found this guide valuable, remember that this is just the beginning of the journey. Subscribe to the Living Soil Lab for more insights, experiments, and deep dives into the living world beneath our feet. Share this with fellow gardeners because together we can regenerate not only our own backyards, but the future of our food and our planet.